compressor was on for like 10 seconds and then it turned off.
Oh no.
I think we got a drained battery. G'day guys, it's Tom and Ellie here. We're about to go and take our first trip here in the 19 MKS.
About 20 minutes away.
If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. So we're excited to bring you along on this trip. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go out with the factory setup on this. If you know our channel, you know we're filming a series on this 19 MKS and we're gonna turn it into the ultimate off-grid adventure mobile for us. We're very excited for that. This video is gonna be taking it out with the factory solar.
We've really only ever camped in rigs that we've upgraded ourselves, so this is gonna be a bit of a learning curve for us as we're using the factory solar only.
So the plan is to head out to the national forest out from home and try to find a nice boondocking spot for the night. Hopefully by a lake. You got the Deschutes River out here. We don't really know what we're going to find and we could be driving for a while, but plan B, if we can't find a nice dry camping site, then we might settle with a national park campground, which there's plenty of those out here. Either way, we're going to be reliant on the factory solar, factory battery setup, which I'll tell you about in the morning. But right now it's just a matter of finding a campsite and nestling in for the night. We did it. We found a pretty nice spot here. Check this out. All right, time to get this bad boy level. Just an absolutely spectacular spot here. Everything's going great so far. Power is all working out really well. I think one of the first things we're noticing about our power is kind of the lack of knowledge of where it's at. One thing we're used to in the 260 is all the monitoring and things like that, whereas on this we just kind of press a button and get the little red LEDs. Tomorrow I'm going to open up the solar app and hopefully I can get a little bit more information from that. Just a little bit of unknown, but that is what it is, a little anxiety maybe, just hoping the furnace and everything will get us through the night because we don't have that percentage to let us know. So we're down to 2/3, which I don't know what that means. Hopefully we still get through the night with the fridge and the furnace running. We'll find out. The one thing that obviously changed quite a bit was it became nighttime. So we may have just lost our solar and now the battery's really starting to drain, but who knows? We're 2/3 red dots.
What does the solar mate say?
Let me see here. So the solar mate app says, yes, 0 watts coming from solar now, obviously. If I go down to battery voltage, it says 12.5, which is a little bit of information. I know a full lead acid battery is 12.8 volts, so we're obviously below that. Yeah, I don't know what 12.5 volts means in terms of how far we get tonight. Well, we made it through the night, no worries on the factory solar. I want to get into it now and just kind of explain to you what does come with this rig from the factory and what we're operating with this weekend. So the typical industry standard for batteries from the factory is going to be one single battery. So that's what we're operating with right here, about 100 amp hours, standard lead acid battery. A good dealership like Thompson RV is going to probably include 2 just as a bare minimum. But most people, when they get their RV, it's going to come with a single one of these batteries. So let's talk about what this battery can and can't run. This battery is providing 12 volt DC. So here's what's going to work in the RV and what's been working for us. We've been able to run the furnace. We've been able to run the water pump. We've been able to use the lights. We've been able to use the max air fans. We turned the television on last night and tried to scan for channels. That didn't work so well, but that's a 12 volt television. Most RVs are going to come with a 120. Luckily, Outdoors RV is offering a 12 volt battery powered TV. Also lately, a big responsibility of this battery is going to be running the refrigerator with that 12 volt DC refrigerator that we have in this trailer. A few other things like the USB outlets are going to run from 12 volt. We've found those to be charging very slowly this weekend. This battery is also responsible for the slide out when we came here and arrived yesterday. It's also responsible for the awning. We're not rolling that out today because of the wind. It's also responsible for the auto level is going to operate from this battery. So obviously that's a lot of responsibility and a lot of items that this battery can run. It's obviously going to be important that this battery can be recharged and replenished, which I'll get into in a second. Let's talk about things that aren't working for Ellie and I this weekend because we're only operating on battery power from the factory. So the 120 volt stuff is obviously not going to work just from this battery. You would need an inverter system for that, or you would need to be plugged in. So these are the things that Ellie and I are kind of missing out on in this weekend that we're really used to having. So the air conditioner is a big one. Just being able to cool the rig down in the middle of the day. It's meant to get pretty warm warm today, and just with the dogs, we like to keep them cool. So running the air conditioner is not going to be possible from the factory. The microwave, I know it sounds silly, but for us, you know, we actually make our coffee on the stove, but later on we tend to microwave what's left over, and we can't really do that. All the outlets in the RV, those typical plug-in outlets, those aren't going to work, unfortunately. So that might be where we're plugging in a hairdryer, charging our toothbrushes. There isn't really a factory way to run a Starlink. If you had a 120 volt outlet, you could just plug the Starlink into that outlet. A lot of CPAPs aren't 12 volt. You know, you can get the cigarette outlet style, but some of them need the 120 volts, so that kind of stuff wouldn't work. Charging phones, charging laptops. Like I said, the factory here on this setup does have some USB outlets, but they're not USB-C, and we found they're just way too slow, especially with all the filming that we're doing. So obviously those are a lot of luxury items, and you can do without them. Nonetheless, a single battery, just in my opinion, is not going to be enough. I was actually pretty surprised this morning that our furnace didn't kill this battery overnight. 2 of these batteries would certainly help, but your battery is only really as good as what's coming in. So let's talk about how the factory brings charge into this battery. So the factory solar from Outdoors RV, which honestly is probably light years ahead of a lot of RV manufacturers, is 2 200 watt solar panels. This particular 19 MKS came with a 3rd solar panel, which, I mean, we're going to end up removing these anyway, but for this weekend it's pretty nice to have. So the solar's job is just to obviously top that battery up through the day when the sun is shining on the panels. You can see now, I don't know exactly what time it is, maybe 11 o'clock, but we've got essentially no sun hitting these panels because of the shade we're in, which is going to be pretty common. So having a smaller battery is going to be a problem there. If we had a bigger battery, it would help us get through a little bit longer in these situations of shade. So let's talk about how this is actually working for us right now. So we have seen the battery monitors kind of fluctuate. We honestly really have no idea how that battery is doing. Need a wind turbine up here today instead of solar panels. So these panels right now, I mean, they will get some sun later on and they will do the job. Now, one thing that I think is definitely lacking from the factory, which we may not run out of power this weekend, that alone is awesome. Thing is that I find lacking with this factory setup is we have literally no idea how our power is doing. So I want to get into ways that we monitor the factory setup so you know where you are power-wise. So this guy right here is pretty common to most RVs. Press the battery button and you've got three or four LEDs to tell you where you are. 1/3, 2/3 full. This thing's been bouncing all over the place. We've been at 1/3, we've been at 2/3. We've gone from 1/3 to full at one point. What a lot of people don't know about these factory battery monitors, if you have solar, even if your batteries are almost dead at like 10%, as soon as the sun hits those panels, some voltage gets applied to the batteries, which causes this thing to read full. So it's really kind of useless. It's useful at night, so it's really kind of causing us a little anxiety about where we really are battery-wise. So in the pass-through here is the solar controller. It's actually an MPPT solar controller, and it's actually pretty decent quality being an MPPT. It also has Bluetooth and an app. So we've been using that this weekend. So another way to monitor power. So that app does tell us how much solar is coming in. I can see we're getting 45 watts out of the 600 watts that are on the roof. So not a lot of solar coming in. We also get battery voltage, but as I mentioned before, this voltage is really a product of the solar panels and not our battery. So again, unless it's nighttime, we really don't know where our batteries are. Honestly, been a bit of a struggle for us. We're not really used to having power anxiety. We're used to seeing absolutely every little detail of what's going on in our rig. So I don't know that we'll run out of power, but I honestly don't know. Either way, we're just going to try and enjoy the rest of the weekend and see how we go. Did you hear that?
Mm-mm.
The compressor was on for like 10 seconds and then it turned off.
Oh no.
I'm going to turn it off because that's probably not good for it.
Are we gonna lose our food?
SolarMate says 10.9 volts, which I'm pretty sure is very close to a fully drained battery. Well, we actually did run out of battery. I think that was kind of inevitable on that single battery. Last night we ran the furnace a lot more, and this morning I woke up and I heard the furnace was kicking on off and on, obviously because of the temperatures, but then what I heard kicking off and on was the fridge. The fridge compressor would kick on for like 30 seconds and then turn off and then on and then off. I'm like, that's not right. Can't be good for it either. So I just turned the fridge off because I didn't want it to damage it. The lights were flickering and things like that when the furnace would kick on, and then the furnace kicked on the last time. The furnace kicked on for like 30 seconds and then turned off, and now when I went and turned the thermostat up like 10 degrees hotter than it's set to, it just won't come on at all. So I know that means that the furnace is in lockout. The SolarMate app was reading like 10.9 volts and the gauge was empty too. Hopefully the sun comes out here pretty soon. It's only about 7:30, so hopefully the sun comes out and solves that problem for us and puts that voltage back on that battery that we need.
And while Tom stresses about power, the dogs and I are going to enjoy this beautiful campsite. So that wraps up our 2-day factory solar experiment.
That kind of went just okay.
Yeah, but we had beautiful 2 days. We're so grateful for them. We saw 2 bald eagles dancing in the sky. There must be a nest around here. And the dogs were able to roam freely and we weren't worried about them.
Awesome campsite by the water all weekend. That was sweet.
Yeah, we had a great time. We are a little bit nervous about getting the slide in and the levelers up because we are so low on battery.
We brought a spare battery, a spare AGM along just in case because we had a feel we'd run out of power. We're not going to put that in and we'll see how we go. We'll continue the experiment till we get home.
Thanks for watching this far, and if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe. It helps us a lot, and thanks for watching.
Cheers, bye.
See ya!